Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Mr. Charles, and I'm here from Boys and Girls Club of Greater Baton Rouge. I would like to thank each one of you for tuning in to our Passport to Manhood segment. Passport to Manhood is a program that the Boys and Girls Club of America started, which teaches a young boy how to become a man. This program is taught in our middle and high school level programs and taught by our male YDPs. Here at the club, we want everyone to feel attached, so even though we're online this summer, it's still no different. We still gonna be interactive with you. We still want you to be interactive with us. At the end of this video, we will have a place where you can take a quiz, where you can answer questions, and where you can also submit your own questions that we can answer for you on our next video. Today, the name of the lesson is Understanding Manhood. Here in my hand, I have 12 different postcards that we will go over and talk about, and what I will need you guys to do at home. Each card that I present to you, I want you to write why. The cards that I have in my hand are the negatives, and the cards that I have behind me are the positives. Each card that has a negative has a positive card, and we will go over that at the end. The materials that you will need for this segment, all you will need is in your Club on the Go bag that you received. You would just need a notebook and a pencil, because you will be writing what I tell you, and then you will also be writing your answer so you can submit back to me. The first negative card that in my hand that I have is our first negative. Men never grow up. They just are larger versions of little boys. I'm gonna take a minute to pause so you can have time to write down the question. Well, not the question, but the statement. I'll also read it again. Men never grow up. They are just larger versions of little boys. Also, I want you at home to give an explanation why people say this about men. I'm gonna give you my explanation why they say this. A lot of men, we just like to have fun. It's never intentional to hurt anyone or to make it seem like we're never growing up, but some people might look at it as life is too short, and you don't always have to be serious. There is a time where it is time to be serious, but for the most part, men just like to have fun. So if somebody is ever telling you this, you just let them know, hey, I'm not a little boy. I'm gonna be a grown up one day, but right now I'm just having fun in my life. That's what I'm doing. I'm not here to please you or anything. I'm just here to enjoy my life. My next statement that I have is men have to have their way at all times. Again, that statement is men have to have their way at all times. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? Me personally, I would definitely have to disagree. I know for myself as a man, there are times that we want to have our way, but being a man, sometimes you have to take a step back and let others lead. Even if that's with your parents, your siblings, your girlfriend, your grandparents, anyone. Even though we want to have our way, sometimes you have to let someone else lead. And it's not no sense of weakness, it's just being a man, you have to let others lead at some point. But you always know when it's your time to come back and start leading the pack again. The next card we have is men are clueless. They are not able to do many things well. Men are clueless. They are not able to do many things well. How do you feel about that? How would you feel if someone told you that you were clueless? That you weren't able to do anything well? I know for myself, I would never want anyone to tell me I'm clueless or I don't know how to do anything well. There's many things that I know how to do well. I can cook, I can clean, I'm a hard worker, I make great grades in school. So there's a lot of things I can do well. I'm on track to graduation. Hey, in a few months I'll be a college graduate. So I think I'm doing a lot of things well. And for you, you might be about to be a high school graduate, applying to college, or you might be leaving middle school, going into high school. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do anything well and that you're clueless, because you're very smart and you can do anything that you put your mind to. My next card is men are stronger than women. Men are stronger than women. Now that's one thing that growing up as a young man, you constantly hear boys don't cry, hey, toughen up, things like that. Sometimes we do cry. Sometimes we might be hurt. And generally, we like to think we are stronger than women, but we also have a side to us that we don't like people to see. And I think that's what people mean by men are always stronger than women. It's not that we're weak, but at all times you want to put your best foot forward. You don't ever want nobody to see that side of you. So I'm gonna always come off as strong. But there are times when we do have a breaking point. So whenever you get to that point, don't ever feel like you're weak. And don't ever let someone else make you feel weak and tell you, oh, you're a man, you have to be stronger than this woman, or you have to toughen up in front of all these women. If you feel uncomfortable about something, let somebody know. First of all, be self-aware, have self-awareness. So, like I said, if you are uncomfortable, always take a step back. If you need a moment to yourself, do that. Because just because you might show a sign of weakness doesn't mean you're weak. And it's not even a sign of weakness. You needed a moment to yourself. So always remember that. My next card says, men don't do housework like cooking and cleaning. Men don't do housework like cooking and cleaning. I can definitely say that is false. There's a lot of men out here who have their own apartments, have their own homes, who don't have anyone else there, so they have to cook, they have to clean. There are also instances where, of course, we always hear about single mothers, but there are single fathers. There are a lot of single fathers out there. So they have no choice but to cook and clean for their children. So that statement is definitely not true. And I want to hear your input on it too. So in your book, write down what you think about that statement. Number 6, men don't take care of children. Men don't take care of children. Now, I just said previously, there are a lot of single fathers out there. So this statement is definitely false. I can speak for myself. I come from a 2-parent household. My dad definitely takes care of me and my brother, and take care of my mother as well. My parents work cohesively together. They take care of the household. So men definitely take care of children. And one day, who knows, you'll have your own kids one day and you'll be taking care of your own kids. So never let someone tell you that men cannot take care of children by themselves. You can definitely do it. My next card says, men do dirty jobs like construction or mechanics. That is not always true. It's not. I'm actually in college myself, and I'm studying sociology. It doesn't have anything to do with construction work or mechanic work. So never just think the only jobs out here for men to do are be construction workers and mechanics. You can be a police officer, you can be a doctor, a nurse, a teacher. There's a need for a lot of male teachers in the field right now. You can be a biologist, a chemist. There's many things that you can do out here that don't require you being out in the construction field or being in the garage all day. being in the heat. There are a lot of desk jobs that men can do. You can be a CEO of a company. So never just think the only job out here for a man to do is be in the construction industry or be in a garage working on cars, because that's not true. My next statement is men are in charge, they control others. Men are in charge, they control others. This statement can be true and can be false. Sometimes in some households, men are the head of the household. So yes, they are in charge. But when you have a man and a wife together, they should work cohesively together. So yes, the man might put his foot forward at all times, but don't think he only made that decision by himself. He had someone else behind him. And that's the false in that statement that I made. Now the true in that statement is men are in charge. When I say that, you are in charge of yourself. You're in charge of your feelings, you're in charge of your actions. You control you. No one controls you. So always remember, anything that you do and say, you did. No one can make you do or say anything that you don't want to do. Always remember that. Always be confident with anything that you do. Always. Now the other false part of this question is they control others. You never want people to feel like you control them, because when someone feels like you're trying to be controlling of them, they are less trustworthy of you. They won't trust anything that you say. And not having someone's trust is like not having anything. Just how you want someone to trust you, you should want to trust them. So always remember that you don't control anyone. The only person that you control is yourself. You don't control anyone else but yourself. My next card says men are lazy. I don't think men are lazy. Do you believe you're lazy? I don't believe I'm lazy. I get up every morning. I have a routine that I follow. I have things that I do every day. So I know I'm not lazy. I put my best foot forward at all times. I'm a hard worker. I have a big heart. I'll do anything for anybody. So I know for a fact I'm not lazy. And you know for a fact that you're not lazy. Of course, we have our lazy days. Of course, it's Saturday morning. I want to sleep in, watch some TV. But other than that, I'm up and moving at all times, trying to find something to do. Always active, always trying to find something to do. My next card says men do dangerous things just for fun. Now I won't say we do it sometimes we do dangerous things for fun. I mean, there's a lot of things that people consider dangerous that we do. Like playing football, that's dangerous. Playing basketball could be dangerous too. Going scuba diving or stuff like that, it's dangerous. There's a lot of things that we do that are dangerous, that are fun, but we don't do it because it's dangerous and because it's fun. It's just we doing it because it's something to do. It's something fun to do, and we're not thinking about the negatives behind it. But as a man, you should always think about what could happen. So I guess you can say we do kind of think of the negatives behind it, because you want to come home to your family every day or come home to your friends. So a lot of things that you do, yes, think about it before you do it. So if you're going to play football, if you don't have pads on, make sure you play a two-hand touch. If you're going scuba diving, something like that, if you're not too sure about it, make sure you have a scuba instructor with you. If you want to go, go to a paintball range, make sure you have an instructor that's teaching you what to do so you don't accidentally hit somebody with the paintball in the wrong spot, or you get hit in the wrong spot. So there's a lot of things that we do that are dangerous, but just make sure you follow proper precautions when doing so. Men never cry even when they're in pain. Men never cry even when they are in pain. Wow. That's one thing a lot of people feel men should do. They say men shouldn't cry. Just how women have feelings, men have feelings as well. We try and express our feelings differently, but sometimes it's better to just cry. I can speak for myself. It's been times that I've cried. I don't want people to see me cry, but it's been times that I've had to cry. And it's been times that people have seen me cry when I didn't want them to. So it's not true when they say men never cry. Men definitely do cry. I've seen men cry. I'm pretty sure you've cried before. You probably lost a football game before that really hurt you, that made you cry. You may have been really upset before. I know sometimes when I get really upset, I do cry to avoid, retaliating against someone else. When someone passes that you really love, that will make you cry. So it's a lot of things that will make us cry. Sometimes you don't want people to see it, but yeah, we do cry sometimes. My last statement is, men are violent and like to fight. Men are violent and like to fight. First off, I want to say, men are not violent. I believe that as a man, sometimes we resort to violence to protect things and people that we love. But are we just violent people? No. Do we just like to go out and pick a fight with any and everybody? No. That doesn't happen. In some cases, it is drilled into a child's head from you that you have to be the strongest person out here, you have to be the hardest person out here, you never let nobody play with you and things like that. And so the smallest thing will click and make that person just completely go off and be ready to be violent and fight somebody. But that's not what all men are about. We're all different. Everybody's different. So resorting to violence is not always what we do. Not always. So my next thing that we're going to do, we went over the negatives and now we're going to match them with the positives. So the first one was, men never grow up. They're just larger versions of little boys. The card that matches with this one is, a man is always learning and growing, becoming the best person he can be. Always remember that. So whenever someone tells you you're a little boy and that you're never growing up, you can remind them that you're growing always, and you're still trying to become the best person you can be. You could be 25 years old and you can still be growing up. You learn something new every day. And you never know who you come in contact with who will teach you something new. So always remember that. Men have to have their own way at all times. Let's see which one goes with this one. I believe it's this one. A man compromises and knows that he doesn't lose power if things don't go his way. Yeah, that's the one for this one. Because this one says men have to have their own way at all times. And the positive to that negative, a man compromises. You always gonna find a way to compromise with someone else. It doesn't mean just because you're not having your way doesn't mean you lose the power of being a man. You're still a man. But you sometimes have to compromise to come to an even playing field with someone else. So always remember that. A man compromises and he doesn't lose power if things doesn't go his way. Men are clueless and not able to do many things well. A positive to that statement: a man is aware and able to do many different kinds of things. So instead of being clueless, you're very aware. And instead of being able not to do many things well, you are able to do many different things very well. Men are stronger than women. The positive to that statement is a man may be physically stronger than others, but he does not use his strength to hurt. So remember, you might be physically stronger than a woman, but you never use that strength to hurt that person. And not only a woman, but maybe another male. Just because you might be stronger and bigger than someone, you don't use that to hurt that person. You want to be the best person that you can always be at all times. So never let anyone get you to that level where you want to hurt them. Don't do that. Men don't do housework like cooking and cleaning. I said before, I do housework. Having your own, you have to do your own stuff at times. So, a man accepts his share of responsibility for taking care of his home. So this said men don't do housework, but the positive to that is a man will always accept his share of responsibility for taking care of his home. So even if you're still staying with your parents, it's okay to make up your own bed. It's okay to wash your own clothes. It's okay to wash the dishes after everyone's eaten for the day. You sometimes take initiative and do it yourself without having your parents tell you to do it. And that will make them even build more trust with you and let them know, hey, my son is becoming a man. Men don't take care of children. The positive to that card is a man cares for children in many different ways. Like I said before, there are a lot of single fathers out here. So men definitely do take care of children. And for the people who don't live in single parent households, who live with both their mother and their father, even though you might see your mom doing most of the stuff around the house, like I said previously, a man accepts his share of responsibilities in taking care of his home. So whatever your parents have, what they compromise together, what one should do and what the other should do, your father is taking care of you. And when you become a man, you'll be taking care of children one day, even if it's not your own. It might be your nieces and nephews or the children in the neighborhood that you stay in. You will one day come into contact with a child that you will take care of in some sort of way. Men do dirty jobs like construction and mechanics. Like I told you before, you can do whatever you want to do. And this statement best matches that, actually. A man can choose any type of job that is right for him. So whatever you feel is right for you to do, you can do. So if that's being a CEO of a company, if that's being a business manager, if that's being a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, it doesn't matter. Whatever you feel is the right job for you, that's the right job for you. So it doesn't have to be construction or mechanics. You don't have to work outside. You can work inside in the building. It's okay. Men are in charge. They control others. This statement says, a man respects others and doesn't try to control them. So instead of being in charge of others, you respect them. Instead of trying to control them, you respect them. at all times. That comes with being a man. Being a man, you respect others. You don't want to be that man who comes around and no one wants to deal with. You want to be the man that when you do come around, everyone's like, hey, I can't wait to hang out with you and things like that. That's the kind of man that you want to be. Men are lazy. The positive to that statement is a man works hard to make a contribution to the world. He's always doing something. He's not just sitting there. Remember that. You're not lazy. You're doing your part to be a better man in this world at all times. Men do dangerous things just for fun. A positive to that statement is a man takes risks only for something very important or when it will help someone. So, like I said before, things that you might do that are dangerous, playing sports. If playing a sport is important to you, you're gonna do it. That's a risk that you are taking. But also remember to always take the necessary precautions when playing that sport. Or you'll do something dangerous when it's to help someone else. So someone might be scared to do something like go skydiving. If that person is really important to you, and you know if going with them can help them conquer their fear, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna go right behind them. Because if it was me, if it was somebody I truly cared about and they needed my help to conquer a fear of theirs, I'll be right behind them. We jumping together. We're gonna be safe, of course, but we're gonna jump together. Men never cry even when they're in pain. Like I said before, just because you cry doesn't mean you're weak. And the statement here says when a man cries, it's not a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of being real and honest. You're being real with yourself. You're being honest with others. You're being real with others, and you're being honest with yourself. If something's hurting you, sometimes all you can do is cry. There's nothing else you can do. Let that out. Don't keep it balled in, because balled up anger and hurt only can make the problem worse. Men are violent and like to fight. Our last positive to that is a man knows violence is never okay. It's not okay at all. Violence is never the answer. Try something else. But violence, that's definitely not the answer. That is definitely not the answer. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. Please remember to upload your answers to the negative situations that I gave you in the beginning, that I asked you to give me your response on them and how you feel about that. So make sure you upload it under the video after this is over. Until next week, y'all have a good week, and I'll see you next time.